Hello and welcome to my review of issues 24 and 25 in the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest subscription from Hachette Partworks. We're quite the way in now, over a quarter of the way in. There's going to be 80 issues, so we've still got 55 to go. But in a few more months, we'll almost be halfway through the subscription. So I thought I'd do a review of both issues 24 and 25 in this review rather than one of each, because they contain this easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought, which, let's face it, costs £25, which is £15 cheaper than the standalone kit, but you're getting a £25 Dreadnought that's bigger than a Leviathan Dreadnought for £16, which is still cheaper than getting it from like a third party or something like that. This is my second easy to build Dreadnought. Yeah, it sucks that I'm going to have two that look exactly the same. However, if you leave them unglued, you can kind of pose them a little bit. If you really like this kit in this Conquest magazine, I would still strongly suggest you go out and buy the 40 quid full kit, because you do have more weapon options and it's a really nice kit and fun kit to build that'll take you a couple of hours or so. I can't recommend that kit enough. Anyway, issues 24 and 25. 24, you only got a couple of pieces, like one small sprue, like half the Gatling, the Onslaught Gatling cannon and things. But issue 25 is where it's at. You got a lot more of the pieces, the remaining pieces of the model. So let's just have a look at them one at a time. So issue 24 then had a focus on Dreadnoughts, a little bit about Redemptor Dreadnoughts. It even went through the different weapons, anti-armor armaments, also equipped. They can also be equipped with a macro plasma incinerator. And then you've got an Icarus rocket pod. So mainly we're saying that this is an anti-infantry armament. Then you've got the war gear data file, which shows the rocket pod. They can shoot flyers from the sky. You've got the Redemptor fist, which has either heavy flamer or Onslaught Gatling cannon. You can also have the Fragstorm grenade launcher, which is what this one's equipped with, or a Stormbolter. And then in the full kit, you can have the pilot's sarcophagus. The easy to build kit, this one has the heavy Onslaught Gatling cannon, which is a rotary weapon with a high rate of fire and the ability to penetrate armour. The weapon can cut down an entire unit of enemy infantry with a single burst. And then the macroplasma incinerator can destroy the toughest armour the enemy can field. Then, for some reason, they went and had a look at Hel Brutes, basically because they're the Chaos Warp versions of Space Marine Dreadnoughts. I do actually have one here, but as you can see, it's way smaller than the Redemptor Dreadnought. The Redemptor Dreadnought, it just dwarfs it, it really does. But there you go. It's the same colour as well. You got different types of Hel Brutes, and then for some reason they went to Baal Under Siege. A few more. Basically, there's a bit of a backstory with some dreadnoughts in that. How to build a Redemptor Dreadnought. You've got the parts there, and then this is how to build it. They're saying that you obviously can't build it until you've got the pieces from issue 25. But once it's built, quite straightforward. You get this Barachius map, Corvon 2, and then a mission, which is infiltration. Setting up, searching the city for mission briefing, and then exfiltration. And then obviously there's an advert for issue 25 and an advert for issue 26, which is just the flesh shade and the abandoned black paint. Then if we look at issue 25, it clearly came with the other part of the Redemptive Dreadnought kit. I looked at the Contemptor Dreadnoughts, which for easy to build kits, this is, well, it's not classified as an easy to build kit, but it is very easy to build. It won't take you very long at all, but I prefer the Redemptor Dreadnought kit mainly because the legs are in a better position, and also you can move it. Look, you can pop it off, but also have it on there and move it left or right. You can also move the arms up and down like so. You can pop the arms off if you wish, and that's the preferred method, I think. If you leave the arms unglued, then you can have it in different sort of positions, and that's what I would do. There's no real reason for you to glue this model, other than maybe if you just really want to glue it, but yeah. They looked at ironclad dreadnoughts and also dreadnought weapons, and there's a little look at those. They're missing a couple though that are around, such as some of the siege weapons. Disciples of Decay, looking at Dark Imperium and Traitor Titans, and then how to paint your Redemptor Dreadnought. Fair few paints you've got there now, but it goes through each particular part. Even goes to show you putting some Agrax Earthshade on some of the icons. So beginning to look like a proper Dreadnought. And then Redemptor Strike gives you a tutorial mission and changing the data sheets, which is just here. So there's the Redemptor Dreadnought, and there's the data sheet for it. It's different than the one in the Codex, clearly, because it says it's equipped with a heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, heavy flamer, 2 frag-strong grenade launchers, and a Redemptive fist. I will be going through this data sheet in a moment, and when I cover its rules. Mission briefing for Fury Unleashed, and then Might versus Blight, where you have 5 Plague Marines, 12 Poxwalkers, and the Myphitic Blight Hauler against 5 Intercessors and this Redemptor Dreadnought. Sounds pretty fun. Next issue, it's obviously 26, that was previewed in 24, and then 27, you get your first tank, which is the Chaos Rhino, which I can't wait to get my hands on. Clearly, well, it's issue 27 and 28 because I've just started a new Chaos Space Marine army other than Death Guard, and I want to add that Rhino to it. So looking forward to the next 4 issues, well, at least the next 2 issues anyway. So that's issue number 25. Let's have a look at the Redemptor Dreadnought finally in this review. So as I said before, as I might have mentioned, very easy to put together. He is an easy to build kit. It won't take you any more than sort of half an hour to cut the pieces off the sprue, grind down the mould lines, which there are a fair few, which I've just seen one there, I think, just hiding in there, so that's going to bug me, so I'm going to have to sort that one out. And then just put him together. You just have to put the legs together, the feet, the carapace. The arms are in 2 pieces, well, the Gatling cannon's in 3, and the power plant, and then you're good to go. You just leave the rest of him not glued. How big is he though? Well, let's compare him to a normal Space Marine, which is right here. And this is a Space Marine hero. He could quite easily sort of duck and, you know, crouch under that Dreadnought. Compared to an Intercessor, yeah, Dwarf's an Intercessor, fair bit bigger than even one of these. It's a massive Dreadnought. I mean, like I say, it's bigger than the Leviathan Dreadnought from Forge World. It normally sets you back about £80 or so now. It's quite expensive. And then compared to like a Chaos equivalent Dreadnought, this Hel Brute, this is similar size to the older Dreadnoughts, so you can see it's, you know, a third larger than the old ones. Anyway, hope that size comparison's helped. This is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Redemptor Dreadnought, the rules found in the issue 25 of the Conquest magazine. So you'll find him in the elite section. He's a power points cost of a 10. He's got one of these stat lines where as he takes damage, his stats are affected, and the magazine's good because it goes through that with you. He starts off with 13 wounds, so when he's got between 7 and 13 wounds, his movement speed is 8 inches, his ballistic skills 3+, and weapon skills 3+. But when he's got between 4 and 6 wounds, his movement speed drops to 6 inches, ballistic skill drops to 4+, and weapon skill drops to 4+. And then when he's got between 1 and 3 wounds, his movement speed drops to 4 inches, ballistic skill 5+, and weapon skill 5+. So you sort of want him to be in combat as quickly as possible, because there's not really any way of getting those wounds back, unless you've got a tech priest nearby or something. His other stat line, his other characteristics of the stat line remain the same throughout though, which includes the strength of 7, toughness of 7, 13 wounds, attacks 4, leadership 9, and a save of 3+. A Redemptive Dreadnought is a single model equipped with a heavy onslaught Gatling cannon, a heavy flamer, 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, and a Redemptor fist. Now the Fragstorm grenade launcher, which is this thing here, that's an 18-inch range, so it's an effective range of 26 in total. It's Assault D6 weapon, so you can always fire that. You've got up to 6 shots with it. Strength 4, AP 0, and damage 1. So that's a nice little bonus. The heavy flamer, which can be found on the Redemptor Fist is a range 8-inch weapon. It's heavy D6, strength 5, AP -1 and damage of 1, and it automatically hits its target. So that's good. It's a better strength and a better AP than the Fragstorm grenade launcher. Then this is where it's at. This weapon right here, this is called the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon. It's a 30-inch range, so it's still an effective range of 38 in total. It's a heavy 12 shot, strength 5, AP -1 and damage 1. So instead of it being D6 shots or something like that, it's got a straight up 12 shot weapon at 30 inches. And then the Redemptor Fist, which is the melee fist, it's strength ×2, so now you're hitting at strength 14, AP -3 and damage of D6. That's pretty good too. It's excellent in combat. Explode. So his abilities. Explodes. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 before removing the model from the battlefield. On a 6, it explodes and each unit within 6 inches suffers d6 mortal wounds. Codex Discipline. Models in this unit can still shoot in a turn in which they fall back, but if they do so, you must subtract 1 from the hit rolls in the shooting phase. So quite straightforward explodes rule as well. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Ultramarines, Vehicle, Dreadnought, Redemptor Dreadnought. So the weapons are very good on the Dreadnought. He's got a high toughness of 7, he's got a lot of wounds, he's got a decent number of attacks. The only downside to him is, and he moves at quite a pace as well. You want to be moving him as close as possible to the enemy to try and attack them in combat with that strength 14, but all the time moving forward and lending support to your other squads with that 30-inch range anti-infantry weapon. Of course, it would be better if it had the Icarus rocket pod, because then you could take out flyers too. You've got a bit of a chance against flyers, but still, he's a decent elite choice, and that's in an army where elite choices and heavy support choices, it's very competitive, but you can't really go wrong with him. The only time you'd get unstuck with him is through weight of fire, but then they have to get through that toughness 7, and also from long range. If you've got a Havoc squad with las cannons or Predator Annihilator with las cannons, basically anything high strength weaponry from further than 38 inches will be targeting this thing. It doesn't have an invulnerable save, he's only got that 3+ save, and through weight of fire you'll eventually be able to strip those wounds down. He's kind of a ticking time bomb. Your opponent will have to deal with him sooner or later, because your opponent will not want the Dreadnought to get closer to any of your units, really. What do you guys think of issues 24 and 25? I think it's great that we get a big Redemptor Dreadnought in these issues. I can understand why they've split it. I'm not a big fan of splitting models into more than one issue, but I understand why they've done that, and they'll do that again with the Plague Burst Crawler. They're doing it with a Rhino, and they're most likely going to do it with the Repulsor, but probably do that with over 3 issues or so. Put your thoughts and opinions in the comments below as always. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.